Today I want to talk about the properties of various different tinctures. I should explain that a tincture, which I am eventually going to show you how to make, is basically an infusion of a herb in a mixture of alcohol and water most of the time, although other solvents can be used. Now I just wanted to talk about the general properties of these because there are two things in tinctures which in particular are easy to detect, and I want to talk about how to detect those. The first of them is, for example, in this, which is Simicifuga racemosa or black cohosh, which is in a plastic bottle, of course, which is not particularly good, but it could be worse, is the presence of saponins. Now, if you shake this up, you get a thick layer of foam, which then dies down. That is because saponins are natural soaps in a way. They're actually steroidal, so they can form the precursors of hormones and various other things. Now, a particularly spectacular example of this is in this, which is horse chestnut, which is of course mildly poisonous, although only mildly. If you shake that up, you get a massive great head on it. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Yep, massive great head. Okay, so if I pour this out, you will see that there is a huge head. It's very prone to becoming frothy. You get the same effect from various other things. For example, this is Siberian ginseng, also high in saponins. Again, a frothy head. They don't all have frothy head. Okay, now this is a different situation. This is about tannins. Tannins are usually reddish, and this is cherry bark. If I shake this up, there won't be as big a head on it. There is in fact something of a head on it, but not so much. Okay, not compared to the aesculus. Now, if I now pour this out into here, and hold it out to the light, which is why I'm doing it this way around, you can see that it's very red. Cherry red, I suppose you might say. Now, if you compare that to the aesculus, you find that there's a considerable difference in the colour. That is sort of orangey, and that's very much darker and redder. Now, the classic one of these is, of course, tormentil, to torment ill people. This is tormentil. If you pour this into a glass, tormentil is very high indeed in tannins. So, looking at this in a glass, you get this. You see that that looks extremely red, and also quite cloudy. Cherry bark, both quite red, they're related to each other, they're both related to roses in the rose family. But then compare each of them to the aesculus, and you can see there's quite a contrast in the colours there, and between the cherry bark and the aesculus there as well, aesculus being horse chestnut. Now, there are also herbs which are completely devoid of either. This is celery seed. If you look at this poured out, it tends to look rather boring compared to the others and quite thin looking. And there it is, sort of vaguely sort of yellowy, greeny colour. Big contrast with the others. Horse chestnut. This is celery, this is horse chestnut. To tormentil, very different colour indeed there, I don't know if you can see that, and also to cherry bark again, very different colour indeed. This is very definitely greenish yellow. Finally, you can get a few which have both large amounts of saponins in and large amounts of tannins. This is salvia, sage, salvia officinalis, not salvia divinorum. Shake that one up and you get a bit of a head, not particularly much of a head. Pour it out and you have quite a dark reddish appearance with something of a frothy head on, which you can see again if you stir it up. Okay, so there's your head slightly, it's not very strong. Okay, so combining all of those together, so you've got, there you've got your aesculus. if you then do something like pour Tormentil in it, Tormentil, because it contains tannins, has the property of bringing proteins out of solution. Now, I pour those two together. So, you know, sort of mixing all of them together, what do you get? Right, so there you've got a mixture of the lot, and as you can see, it's quite cloudy, and the reason it's cloudy is partly because of the tannins, and partly because tannins tend to bring things out of solution, so there will eventually be sediment there, and as you can see, it's separating out even now, and that's because tannins cause rather a lot of different substances to precipitate.